What we got was similar to what we got with the Jake Paul-Mike Tyson fight, which was 8 rounds of what is this, of nothing. Although I will say, Freightway Stream, much better than Netflix is.
Welcome back to Landline Now. Scott here in Studio A with Jami Jones and Tyson Fisher of Landline Magazine. We're going to drill down into some of the big stories this week, from broker transparency rules and asking if the driver shortage debate is finally over, to congestion pricing and more. Jami, Tyson, good to see you.
Hey, good to be here.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. So let's get into this broker transparency rulemaking that we got from FMCSA this week. We've been waiting on this for a while. We've been moving slowly, but I think it's safe to say we are moving in the right direction here. Jami, you've been covering this. First, I think a quick rundown is probably helpful for those who haven't been following this as closely. Just basically, what is this rule going to do?
Well, the rule is it's just going to shore up regulations that are already on the books for broker transparency. OOIDA and the Small Business and Transportation Coalition both petitioned the agency back in 2020 because brokers were not complying with the spirit of the regulation. They were like, you want to see the records? Fine by me. Come to my office. And, completely inaccessible.
You're in a different time zone? That's unfortunate for you. So sorry.
Oh, we're closed when you come through at midnight.
Exactly.
Sorry, there's not much we can do about that. So, brokers have really, kind of exploited that ability to violate the spirit of the regulations. So, OOIDA's petition just basically asked the agency to up enforcement and compliance. Let's put some better rules out there and make it clear that brokers should be able to. Email's been around for decades now, so there's no reason why we can't email those records in a format that is understandable. We don't want it in hieroglyphics or anything.
Right.
Who knows what they would pull next?
Sure.
Seriously, don't put anything past a crooked broker, all right?
Yeah.
But, and then, just the gist is that once the request is made, you have the proposed time frame is 48 hours to respond with those documents. So, it's really pretty simplistic for rulemaking, very much in the common sense realm. And as expected, it took significant blowback from the broker groups.
Which, to me, if you're in opposition to transparency with this issue, you're probably part of the problem. As you point out, it's the 21st century. I'm sure they're keeping these things on a computer anyway. They've got an electronic copy of it anyway.
Do they even still have ledgers at Office Depot? I haven't looked in a while.
They probably do, and there may be some out there that are doing that. But again, I think this just begs the question. The pushback that we've seen really speaks volumes and really says a lot about the people who are pushing back, if in fact they are, because this is a name of transparency.
100%. So the Transportation Intermediaries Association, which represents brokers, they came out swinging hard after this proposal hit. And I compared it in an opinion piece to, kind of the drunk in the bar swinging and fighting the air.
Sure.
They're not landing a single solid blow because they said things like TIA has consistently maintained that the broker transparency regulation rooted in 1980s is obsolete and un-American.
Un-American.
Un-American. And it's just, so putting people out of business and taking 80% of the freight rate, that's American. Right?
Yeah. Go USA.
Yeah. This rule has no place in today's highly transparent marketplace. Transparent for who?
Right.
It's not the truckers taking these loads. And so many of these brokers and so much of this is small business truckers. This is where they're going to get those loads.
Right.
So, it makes it so easy to prey upon them. And do not tell me that this is a transparent process. No, the only transparency is between the shipper potentially and the broker, because the broker knows what the rate was, but the shipper doesn't know how much is getting on over to the motor carrier. So this, the whole supply chain needs to have this information because, one, it will, and this is a point that TIA neglected to bring up, it will help combat the broker fraud out there. Once you start getting that paperwork and it has to be executed and sent and everything, Going to be a lot harder for the fraudsters out there.
Right, exactly. And to put a pin in this, enforcement's going to be the key here. We talk all the time about these regulations that are actually on the books that are not being enforced. Hopefully, FMCSA will follow through on this and actually go after those who are not abiding by the rules. And also, for those listening out here, if you've got a broker who's trying to do the shell game on you, probably want to stay away from them as well.
So, and it's really unfortunate the way the enforcement system is set up right now. All the complaints are supposed to go through the National Consumer Complaint Database, which says nothing to me when I read that name about trucking or brokers.
Yeah, it's misleading. It's not helpful, that name.
It's not.
Bad branding.
It is really bad branding. And that's something that TIA tried to point at and say, well, there's not even been that many complaints in the National Consumer Complaint. Well, no duh. I mean, it's because nobody knows to go there and put the complaints in. So, now's the time. If you do have a problem, go look for that. We have a link on landline.media. And the other thing, this whole proposal is open for comment right now. And while there are specific questions they want asked, which are outlined in the article that we have, don't be afraid to share those horror stories of the lack of transparency. We have to continue to hold FMCSA accountable on this front because the regulations on the books, we just want it enforced and perfected.
It'd be great to see 15,000 comments like we saw with speed limiters on this issue to make sure that they're aware that this is a real problem out there. Let's move on to another topic here, the driver shortage narrative. I'm going to use a lot of air quotes here. OID Executive Vice President Louis Pugh was in Chattanooga, Tennessee this week. He was taking part in another air quote debate at the Future of Freight Festival. Tyson, they wanted to have a healthy debate about this issue, and we'll get into who wasn't there, which I think is notable. Not really, though, much of a debate here really on this issue because they ended up, Louis and John Larkin of Clarendon Capital, ended up kind of almost on the same side of this debate. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's pretty fair to say. Yeah, when you hear about the driver shortage debate, the first thing that came to my head was, oh, cool, we're going to see the first live debate. We're going to go head to head.
Back and forth.
We're going to hear this argument.
Crossfire.
Fireworks,
And what we got was similar to what we got with the Jake Paul-Mike Tyson fight, which was 8 rounds of what is this, of nothing. Although I will say, Freightway Stream, much better than Netflix's.
And no butts exposed on this one either.
Right. But yeah, we were expecting this sparring, and we got none of that. First of all, a lot of respect to John Larkin for taking on the task of trying to defend the driver shortage, which he didn't really do. But yeah, what ended up happening is that we got basically a 30-minute conversation about driver turnover and driver retention and what is causing that, which is something what everyone knows, which is poor driver pay and then poor driver working conditions. That's it. And so for 30 minutes, I know, right? And so for about 30 minutes, we got John Larkin and Louis Pugh just going back and forth, pretty much agreeing with each other, saying, "Yeah, you bring up a good point, and let me expand on that. With this is what's wrong with the driver pay structure." Low pay, no wellness programs, poor quality of truck stop food. These are all things that Larkin said, And so, yeah, we didn't get much of a debate. The one thing that Larkin did say in terms of the actual driver shortage is that there is no driver shortage right now, which I think we all agree with that. But he says, but there could be a driver shortage in the next year or two when the economy improves and freight demand increases and then we don't have enough drivers. But my counter argument to that is that's what we saw right after the pandemic. We saw that surge in freight, and it's like, who's going to haul all this freight? Well, what happens is that because there weren't a lot of truckers at the time, rates went up, and then the truckers come. So pay goes up, the truckers came,
Yeah.
And so yeah, there was like a very short period of not enough truckers, and then, yeah, you just raise the rates, they're all going to come, problem solved. That's just how the market in every industry works.
So that whole simple supply and demand kind of thing.
This is economic stuff you learn at high school. This isn't graduate level economics.
No.
This is high school level stuff. And so Yeah, so because of that, we didn't get much of a debate. We just got, how do we solve the turnover problem?
Yeah.
And that is, increasing pay and work conditions, yeah.
Real quick, the debate that you were, and I think we all were hoping to maybe see here, would have or should have included the American Trucking Associations, which is really the main driver of this this whole narrative.
The only driver.
The only driver. Thank you for that correction there. They did not show up, and not even that. Not only that, they didn't reply to, I guess, multiple invitations to take part as well, right?
So
Which I think speaks volumes.
Yeah, Freightways, who hosted this, they offered ATA $50,000. $50,000
to donate to charity, right?
To donate to charity of their choice. They offered that, and ATA it was just the silence. They didn't even acknowledge that, and that's not even the first time that they've been offered that. So just a couple of weeks ago, that same offer is on the table, $50,000 for a different debate, same debate, driver shortage, in a different forum. Didn't acknowledge that. In April, they were offered $25,000 for a driver shortage debate. Again, nothing. So it's just like the data that they have that supposedly, supports their driver shortage narrative,
which we've never seen.
You can't.
Well,
you can't
and they
see
aren't
it.
even giving numbers now.
Yeah,
They're just
yeah.
saying, used to they at least would attach a number to it, and now they're not even doing that. They're like, yeah,
Right.
that ship sailed.
Yeah.
So I would say we didn't get anything. Again, respect to John Larkin, who is
Yes.
he's a smart guy, Harvard educated.
Yeah.
He's on the board of CRST. He's on the board of Freightways, and I think that's kind of what happened. Freightways like, we need somebody to debate this. It's like, we have a board of directors. Can you do this, please?
He's like,
okay,
sure.
fine, yeah. So, but yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, he was honest. I mean, at the end of the day, he
Yeah.
was not going to sell. He was not going to sell us a lie.
He didn't go up there
100%.
in bad faith.
Exactly.
Which,
So, kudos to him on that one.
For sure. I want to get to one more topic here. We don't have a lot of time, but New York City congestion pricing, it is back, but at a discounted rate. That is not a commercial read there. But really the race, it's a race against the clock here before President-elect Trump takes office on January 20th, and they're putting it back in place.
Yeah, we all saw this happening. So when the governor paused this back in June, it was under the guise of, save you money, but it was just a political ploy ahead of the election. That's all it was. And so the election's over, so now it's coming back. So what's going to happen is it will start on January 5th is the plan here. And so the original toll for truck drivers was $36 with an Easy Pass. That's going to go down by 40% to $21.60. And that's across the board for everybody. So 40% reduction across the board. Starts in January. Now, the thing is, the plan is that 40% reduction will be good through 2027, and then through 2028 through 2030 is going to be a 20% discount, and then after 2030 we go back to gradually get back to that $36. The whole point here is they're scrambling to get this done because Donald Trump did say back in May that his plan, his first week in office, is to end congestion pricing. He said that.
Right.
So now they don't really have much time to do that, and so here we are.
And it makes it more difficult if it's in place before he takes
Correct.
office, as opposed to trying to put it in place after he takes office, which again is the reason that this is kind of being rushed now to the finish line. Central Business District, again, it looks like it's going to take effect January 5th. We do have lawsuits out there that are pending.
Yes.
Who knows where those will go?
Well,
but
they could always go for an emergency injunction given this short timeline, and that's the only thing that would stall it long enough to get President-elect Trump sworn into office.
And speaking of, on December 20th, the judge will be hearing about that injunction, so we'll know in about a month whether or not that happens. Yeah.
we shall see. Never a dull moment. Lots of stuff going on. We got the holidays coming up, but we'll keep on top of it. Jami, Tyson, we appreciate your time as always.
Hey.
Pleasure being here.